Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the long-awaited Switch OLED compatible revision of one of the most popular grips for the Nintendo Switch, and that's the Gen 3 ZenGrip Pro from Satisfye. And real quick, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on everything happening with the channel. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. So the Switch OLED released back in October of last year, and for whatever reason, it seems to have taken Satisfye a little while to get their Switch OLED compatible grip on the market. Companies like Skull & Co had a Switch OLED solution ready to go right around launch, and I think that probably led to quite a few people who would have bought the Satisfye version to just pick up Skull & Co's NeoGrip instead. But I know there are some of you out there who waited this whole time for the release of Satisfye's version, so we're going to see if the wait has been worth it. And if you're watching this video, you're probably already aware of this, but the reason Satisfye's previous grips aren't compatible with the new Switch OLED is because the Switch OLED is just slightly wider than the previous full-size Switch models. I think it's something like 1/8 of an inch of extra width, but when you're talking about a grip that grips the Switch very tightly, that's enough to make a significant difference. Now, I do want to get this out of the way at the top here. There have been some people who owned previous models of the Satisfye grip who didn't want to wait for the updated version and were able to get it to work with their new OLED Switch. This involved taking the grip apart and removing some of the silicone pads from the inside rails. Obviously, this is something Satisfye wouldn't recommend as they want you to buy their new grip, but I do think if you go that route, you probably risk some cosmetic damage to your Joy-Con, and there are some other improvements to the Gen 3 ZenGrip beyond it being slightly wider. Before we get to that though, let's do a quick run through of the basics of the Satisfye grip that would be the same as the previous versions as well. So the main benefit and differentiator of the Satisfye grip is the asymmetrical design. Because of the portable nature of the Switch Joy-Con, there's quite a bit crammed into a small space, and that results in the right analog stick being placed directly below the face buttons. So when you're managing the right stick during handheld play, it does involve kinking your thumb at a somewhat uncomfortable angle, and Satisfye addresses this issue by making the right grip slightly larger and angled farther outward than the left. This allows your right thumb to fall into a much more natural position over the right stick, along with the added comfort of a grip that makes playing in handheld mode feel closer to playing with a Pro controller. It really is a significant improvement in ergonomics and comfort, especially over longer play sessions. Installing the grip is as simple as sliding the Switch evenly into the grip until it comes to rest along the prongs at the bottom here. The Switch is held into place by the silicone nubs on the interior of the grip, which also prevents the Switch from making contact with the harder plastic. Because of the way the grip goes across the back of the Switch though, you won't be able to dock your Switch with the grip on, and it will also make the kickstand inaccessible on both the original Switch and the Switch OLED. And now talking about the updates Satisfye has made to the latest version of their grip with the Gen 3 ZenGrip here, they've actually made it compatible with both the new Switch OLED and the original Switch. So even though the grip is a bit wider, Satisfye has added thicker silicone strips to the inside rails that allow it to still hold the original Switch in place. This definitely makes for a tighter fit when using the Switch OLED, but it's still cool that it works with both models. Satisfye have also added an additional set of silicone nubs to the middle of the grip as well, which ensures adequate ventilation and keeps the Switch from making contact with the grip. Earlier versions of the Satisfye grip were known to eventually leave small scuff marks on the outside edge of the Joy-Con where they would come into contact with the harder plastic, and Satisfye really seems to be doing everything they can to prevent this. With the new free float design, it does make for a slightly odd look, almost as if the grip is a little too big and doesn't quite fit the Switch, but I quickly got used to it and appreciate the changes in design intended to keep my Switch scratch-free. That being said, I do still think it's possible for the silicone nubs along the back of the grip to eventually leave those slightly shiny streaks along the back of the Switch tablet. They're not really scratches, but it is something I noticed on my old Switch where it would eventually rub away this sort of rubberized coating on the Switch body, exposing the shinier plastic underneath. It does seem like the coating on the Switch OLED tablet is maybe a bit more resilient, so maybe that won't be an issue here. Either way, it's a minor complaint, but if you're a bit OCD about the condition of your Switch, something I completely understand, it is something you should be aware of. Another quick thing to mention, I did test out the new ZenGrip with some of my older Satisfye cases, and I'm happy to report that even though it is slightly wider, it fit perfectly inside the cases without any issue. As I said in the beginning of this video, I was one of the people who picked up Skull & Co.'s NeoGrip when I first got my Switch OLED, not wanting to wait the months for Satisfy's, and as time went on, I started to think that I might end up sticking with the NeoGrip for good. It's a little lighter, I'm not as worried about it leaving marks on my Switch since it goes on a bit easier, and it also leaves the Switch OLED's kickstand accessible, which is a nice touch. My biggest complaint really was that Skull & Co.'s interchangeable grips aren't rubberized, making them slightly more slippery to hold, but after getting my Gen 3 ZenGrip and using it for a while, I think it's the winner for me. The rubberized grips do feel better, the asymmetric design really does make a difference, it grips the Switch slightly tighter than Skull & Co.'s, making it feel more solid, and the overall build quality seems slightly higher as well. Now, keep in mind the new ZenGrip is more expensive than Skull & Co.'s option, with the ZenGrip OLED going for $29.99 and the NeoGrip going for $19.99, so you are paying a little extra for Satisfye's, but it does feel like a more premium product. With all that said, I do still think the NeoGrip is a great option. I think I prefer the overall aesthetics of it to the ZenGrip, and if you already bought a NeoGrip, I'm not sure that it would be worth the upgrade, but at least for now, the Gen 3 ZenGrip has edged out the NeoGrip as my favorite grip to use while playing my Switch in handheld. I'll leave a link to Satisfye's Gen 3 ZenGrip down in the description if you'd like to check it out for yourself. I also have an affiliate code you can use to save 5% off your order by using code TENDO5 at checkout. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments and I'll do my best to respond to those. And I think that's going to do it. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like on your way out and also consider subscribing. And until the next video, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.